तो साथ ही मैं आपको बता देता हूँ चर्च कैथेड्रल रॉयल है ये, यहाँ पर ये बहुत काफ़ी बड़ा मोनूमेंट है यहाँ का। और यहाँ पर अदर डे पे जाएंगे तो आपको टिकट लगेगा इसका, लेकिन आज सैटरडे है, सैटरडे के दिन एकदम मुफ्त में यानी फ्री में। तो हम इसको एक्सप्लोर करके पूरा फ्री 30 मिनट का टूर रहेगा, हम इसमें देखते हैं और क्या क्या एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं। तो हम अपनी जर्नी शुरू करते हैं। काफ़ी भीड़ है आज, देख सकते हैं, मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ भीड़ कितनी है यहाँ पर। ये है चर्च कैथेड्रल, काफ़ी फेमस है यहाँ का, और इसकी 15 यूरो टिकट होती है दूसरे दिन देखने जाओगे, यानी कि सैटरडे संडे के अलावा। तो आज की दिन फ्री है और देखते हैं कि क्या क्या हमें देखने को मिलेगा। अभी काफ़ी लोग खड़े हैं लाइन में। जेंटलमैन आल्सो, वेयर यू फ्रॉम?
Hello.
वेयर यू फ्रॉम?
Serbia.
Serbia. I'm from India. So now become friend now. Serbia, India. That's the starting a friendship here.
Just go out from India, Serbia. Next.
Yeah, it's next. It's very close. But I'm very fortunate that I'm meeting with Serbian people. Another day I came here, and it was a ticket like a 15 euro per person.
Yes.
But somebody told me that today is free.
2 days
so why
free,
don't I make the most of it? That's the benefit for the today. Yeah, I did a dance over there also. So लाइन हमारी चालू हो चुकी है और हम कोशिश करेंगे कि इसी में अपना जो है take their partner as well. Otherwise you feel alone. Make sense. तो now पट खोल दिए गए हैं यहाँ के मंदिर के और हम अपनी यात्रा कर रहे हैं। थैंक्स मैन। ये देख सकते हैं यहाँ का ब्यूटीफुल प्लेस, सबसे शानदार प्लेस, बहुत ही कमाल का। Alright, thanks for your guidance.
Hello, good evening. Bridget will be taking you around.
तो साथ ही ये देख सकते हैं यहाँ का जो डिज़ाइन है बहुत ही कमाल का है। ये देखिए, वाह, अमेजिंग। दिस इज अमेजिंग। वाह, क्या शानदार चीज़ देख लिया मैंने। कमाल है। Hi ma'am, I want to know this, how many years old this place?
Old.
This one, yeah.
She's going to tell you in the.
Okay, in the briefing.
Who laid the first stone of this wonderful cathedral in 1569. And it took almost 10 years to finish the building of this wonderful church. It was designed by the Maltese architect Gironimo Cassar, and originally the church was a simple, normal church, made completely out of our local stone. A century after, when the was, or the administrator of Malta was Grand Master Nicola Cotoner, he decided to embellish the interior part of the cathedral. And at that time, within the order, there was the Italian knight Mattia Preti, who offered his services to convert the internal part of the cathedral into an explosion of Baroque. But as you can see, everywhere is completely sculptured here. It's an expression of Baroque itself. To tell you the truth, when you look around, you may get the impression that there is something attached to the wall, but this is work done directly on our local stone. Because our local stone, which is Global limestone rock, those who are professional with regards to sculpture, they can sculpture the stone very easily, you know. So Mattia Preti, with his colleagues, started sculpturing the walls of the cathedral. Also, as you can see, the ceiling were covered with sculpture, and further down, when the sculpture was done, they start covering the sculpture with gold leaf. So this yellow color that you can see around is gold attached to the sculpture itself. You know? When you look at the ceiling, you can see the frescoes depict the life of Saint John the Baptist. And if you were to look around, left and right hand side, you can see that there are arches. Under each arch, there is a chapel patronized by each language of the Knights of Malta. Within the order, there were 8 different languages. There were the Portuguese Knights, Spanish Knights, Germans, British, Italian, and 3 languages were linked to France. L'Île-de-France, Provence, and Auvergne. So each group of knights had its own particular chapel inside the cathedral. We have to move this way now, please. Unfortunately, since this tour is a very short tour, because I am obliged to finish it in 25 minutes. So usually when I come with groups during the day, I took almost an hour and a half to finish this tour. But today I have to be very, very brief. So I would like to show you certain chapels. This one here, this is the German chapel. So the German knights, they used to gather here to say their prayers, to have mass in German in this particular chapel. Now, let's move to the other chapel because it might be of better interest to us. Can you move a little bit further down so that the others can see? Sure. So here we have come in front of the Italian chapel. Each chapel is different, one from the other, because every chapel was designed and sculptured according to the taste of the knights, you know. So if the Italians wanted this kind of sculpture, they fit it in, you know. So every chapel is different, one from the other. Even on the altar, you can see the patron saints of each chapel. For example, the Italians have chosen Saint Catherine as the patron saint. It's Saint Catherine's patron saint of Italy, so they have chosen Saint Catherine as their patron saint inside the cathedral itself. And you can see that the floor is covered with tombstones. Even all the cathedral is covered with tombstones. But in each chapel, the tombstones that are found in each chapel, underneath they cover Italian knights or an Italian Grand Master. Apart from the tombstones, you can see that monument that depicts one of the Italian Grand Masters who was most important in those days, whose name was Gregorio Caraffa. And you can see the ceiling is beautifully well sculptured, you know, and with this gold leaf, they enriched the cathedral itself. See? So let's get in front of the main altar now, please. I would like to remind you that the Knights of Malta were citizens from all over Europe, but they were descendants of noble families. So for them, for the Knights, money was no problem because they were descendants of noble families of Europe. So whatever they imagined to have, they got, you know. So that's why this cathedral is so rich, because all the richness of Europe is to be found here. It was brought over to Malta by the Knights. If you were to look just in front of the main altar, behind it you can see the beautiful monument which depicts the baptism of Jesus Christ. You know, it was sculptured by the Italian sculptor Mazzuoli, and it is all made out of marble. May I remind you also that in Malta we don't have marble, so when you see the tombstones and monuments like that one, it's all brought from Italy. The marble is brought from Italy. They either worked here or they worked in Italy and brought over to Malta. Something of interest might be this particular throne, this throne of the Archbishop of Malta, and the Archbishop of Malta has only the right to come inside the cathedral to say Mass and no more, because this church belongs to the state of Malta. It was financed by Grand Master Gironimo Cassar, who was the administrator of the island of Malta, then moved to Napoleon, then moved to the British, and finally to the Maltese government. So even the people who are here, not me because I'm a freelance guy, but all the other employees here, they are civil servants. And the Archbishop of Malta has only the right to come inside the cathedral and say Mass here and move up, you know, has no right to change anything here, no right at all. He has his own cathedral in Indina. That is the cathedral of the Archbishop of Malta. This one is the cathedral of St. John the Baptist, who is the patron saint, who is still the patron saint of the Order of the Knights of Malta. So let's move on that side, please. There are any Spanish people who are with you?
Spanish people.
Non hablo español, señora.
Lo siento, sorry.
So this beautiful chapel in front of us is the Spanish chapel. As you can see, it's completely different from the Italian one, or from the German one, you know, because it's for the liking of the Spanish nuns. And you know, in Europe is made of different countries, but each country has its own characteristics. The people of each country, you know, has its own. And the Spanish people, as you know, they are a little bit like this, you know. So you can see the sculpture is a little bit inflated, you know, sometimes, even as a patron saint. While the Italians have chosen Saint Catherine, the Spanish people have chosen Saint George, who is rather a very strong patron saint, you know, and he is on his horseback. You can see all that strength, you know, like, you know, the Thor show, you know, the bull show, the bullfight, you know, something like that, you know, something strong. And you can see these monuments depict the Spanish masters. Amongst them, you can see that one, which refers to Nicola Cotoner. And Cotoner was a person who managed to renovate all the cathedral, all the sculpture, you know, because the cathedral was built in 1560. Let's go back to the
Esta no es la iglesia donde entramos nosotros en esta vida.
And the Portuguese people with us, this beautiful chapel, this was patronized by the Portuguese knights, and you can see the difference. While the Spanish have chosen Saint George, you know, very strong patron saint. The Portuguese have chosen Saint James, you can see, which is Jacques de Compostela. You know? As you can see, a very religious person, much more than Saint George. Saint George, he is a saint, but Saint Jacques de Compostela presents that religiosity more than Saint George. You know, as you can see, the sculpture is easy running, as you can see, nothing bombastic, you know, like that. And you can see the only monument that you can see here, two monuments depict two Portuguese grandmasters. The first one belongs to Emmanuel Pinto. Pinto was a very how should I say, ingenious grandmaster. He managed to establish the basic, or the first, faculty of medicine in Malta. So we refer to Grandmaster Pinto as the founder of our university, which exists today.